Hello everyone, we are starting this first session of Common Lab by CivicWise, and I am Domenico, and I am here with I am Francesco.
I am Jonathan.
And maybe you would present yourself just to say hello.
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
Hello, I am Luis from Madrid.
I am Giulia from Italy.
So perfect. So the aim of this session is to understand better what is actually this Commoning Lab, and also to focus better the what we'll be doing in the next months. And so I will start with a really short explanation about what is a CivicWise lab, and then we'll start to share our idea about this specific lab. So in CivicWise, we are aware that the best thing we could do is to share knowledge, and the most we share knowledge, the best we will be working together and developing interesting projects. But we are also aware about the difficulty to structure the dynamics that provoke and improve this knowledge sharing. So the idea about this kind of labs is to create the ambient, the occasion, the spaces, protocols. We love the word protocols that facilitate this knowledge sharing. So basically, the main idea of the labs is to provoke this knowledge sharing, and maybe then it's also possible that some kind of new project is starting. But the basic idea is to share, talk, and dialogue about what we are already doing. So we are all of us involved in a lot of projects. So it's not the main focus to start new projects, but more share about what we are doing. So this is the first explanation. And now I would like to ask Julia about what we are doing now.
Okay. Because there are many concepts and stuff, but the idea of commons is not really highlighted, I think, in a general way, although it's really much in the system. So Dome came with the idea of starting this lab on commons, because my PhD is already on it, and he's also planning to restart his own. So in this lab, the main idea is to take further this conception of commons. As most of us know, that it started with the natural resources in Elinor Ostrom's writings in the 90s. And then it transferred into much more urban commons. And also in recent years, of course, as many things, it's being transferred into the digital world as well. So knowledge commons is one of the aspects which I've been more working on. Another aspect is the urban commons, which is very much related to the civic engagement that is at the core of the CivicWise. So the idea is to see if we can generate some kind of agency to boost the processes of commons, which is the reason why we decided to call the lab Commoning, which much more focuses on the practice rather than the theory of it, actually. So that's I would say that's the main starting point. And for today's Shall I go with the schedule that we talked? Maybe it might be interesting to talk what all of us are working on related to commons. And then maybe we can generate some kind of expectations from the lab and then see what happens. See what happens is the main thing in CivicWise for me.
Great, great.
So shall I start with what I'm already working on?
Yes.
Okay. As you know, I have this architectural magazine which is trying to become kind of an international one. And I just realized that it is not possible to do it in a kind of a conventional way. So decided to base it on a kind of a knowledge commons, which works in a network, which works like a networked people all around the world. So I am trying to understand how we can generate digital commons and how we can relate it with the physical existence of this architecture, which is mostly produced in this domain of civic engagement and social engagement. So that's my main starting point.
The idea is that all of us, we will be sharing our ideas. I suggest that maybe other people, I don't know if here, Francesco and Jonathan, you want to share about commons and commoning, or Julia, Luis.
Maybe just one question about starting from practical example or practical experience, or just start from the theory?
Actually, it's up to you. I think here the idea is to have a place where we could together understand better what is the commons and how we could create new commons. So it's up to you.
Okay. So, for instance, starting from common experience or practice that I've done before in the past, right? Can be a starting point.
I'm not able to understand properly.
Okay. No, I was saying, if, for example, we can start from practical experience or practical example we have in our past experience, or we can just talking and making theory on past theory. As Emilia was saying, that this is something that already has been done, or if I understand clearly.
Yes, I think the idea is we could have two main goals. One is to understand exactly what is commons, because it's not so easy to understand.
Mm-hmm.
For that, we could use, if you know, some practical experience that maybe you are part, or even propose some kind of theoretical ideas you have about commons. So
Okay.
both.
My expectation, for example, on it, right?
The schedule is first we share about what we understand exactly for commons. So maybe with the examples and some theoretical ideas, and then we will have a short debate about what is exactly the expectation for this commoning lab. So,
Okay.
so this is the schedule.
Okay, fine.
So you will be share something with us, or
Now, what do you mean, like idea, theory?
yeah.
I have no, actually, what I was thinking about, but I'm not sure if it's right. so far is my experience about, if I understood well, because I'm not sure if I understood well about common use. And so I was thinking about my experience in Modena, so how to involve people in the urban places. And I saw many issues and many problems and still problems. And so I just wanted to know more about what you were thinking about how to solve it and how to think about it.
Okay. I don't know, Luis, Francesco, Jonathan, you want to? I'm very interested in the process. Actually, that we could call part of commoning. So I mean, how to build, and now it's a common defined. It is defined. Yeah, I'm very interested in this process, mostly because I think that there is a process of recognizing a common by a community that is very interesting. That is very also, I mean, it's at the base of the commons. What I mean, something to be defined as a common. Also, many theorists of commoning and commons, like Ugo Mattei in Italy or Paolo Cacciari, they use also they connect very much the common with the community that recognize that common. So there is a very interesting also definition of this process that in Italian is defined with the word riconoscenza, that means at the same time recognizing but also being thankful. I mean, so it implies a process of caring and taking care of the commons by the community that is very interesting, because it keeps defining and it keeps aware the definition itself of the common itself. So this is a very interesting point, and to me it's I'm very focused on that. And maybe we can go on later and I can share also some text about this and documents, but I don't know if it's clear, but it's very interesting that in Italian, for example, the same word riconoscenza, that means recognizing, means also being thankful. So the community at the same time recognize the common and it's thankful, and it start taking care of this. So I would like to remember that what is the structure of this session. So the idea that the session will last 1 hour, and this is in the context of CivicWise community and methodology. So we are using a channel on Slack and also a Telegram group. So anyone is now following us by the YouTube channel or Clean Commons platform, you also will find the link to join the Telegram. And what is interesting is that if you decide also to join the CivicWise platform, you will also have access to our drive, where we are sharing books and references, and also the idea is to share our research. So personally, I think it's something that I will start to do. I will put on this folder on the CivicWise drive the documents I will be producing for my research. Actually, I didn't explain that before, but Julia said something. As Julia, I'm also developing a new old research actually about how commons are actually how collaborative process could create new commons, especially in especially focused on how we could change our public spaces and the way we the way will be more trained and centered on the collective intelligence process, and how this collective intelligence process is really connected with the places and the territory we are living, and actually something called also located collective intelligence. So with this explanation, I also tell more about my interest in this lab. So now I don't know if Luis and Jonathan want to share something.
Well, really, I'm here to trying to find out better thoughts about the lab. And, no. I think that I don't know a lot about commons. So really, I am listening and sure learning a lot with you. And then, but I suppose it's my profile every time looking for results. And when I think about commons, and I usually see frustration, no, around this idea of commons and the how it's so hard to get changes and improvements, no, and how to avoid that marginal situation, no, or so of these groups around commons. And I don't know, it's well, something that I wanted to share. No, it's maybe on the opposite side of PESCO. No, it's thinking not about the process, thinking about results. No, and I don't know. Well, the only thing I can share for now.
Okay, thanks, Luis. Jonathan?
No, I just want to learn a lot from you, as Luis said, from all of you. And I think this is a very interesting research what we are studying right now here. And the thing is that commons is something indeed very old, no? That we have before many times during this year. And I think one of the most interesting parts I guess we will discuss in this session is the governance, no? And it's something we already discussed in CivicWise. And I think this is the core thing of commons, no? Building this social trust between people and governance that make it possible. And I think a good point to start from would be maybe reviewing things that happened before, or models that we all of us know, maybe projects, because I think we can learn a lot from past experiences, no? Or even what we are experiencing here in CivicWise. And that's it. I don't know. I think I'm very enthusiastic about this lab. And when another thing is that thanks to this digital tool we have now, we can go. I don't know. We can do something really global, no, with a global dimension. And let's see what we can do.
Tim, you want to say hello?
We have our Temi here with us. Hello.
Hello, Artemis.
I know everybody, I think.
Basta. Sorry. He's leading us to do sport. So, yeah. Sport is better than So, so now the idea is to share what we are expecting from this lab. I don't know, Julia, I don't know if you want to start or. No? Maybe?
I don't know what to expect from a lab, but I think in general it would be nice to, because this idea of commons, it's just being too kind of a hype. So it is getting much more harder to generate a really critical understanding of it. I think one of the main things that we can do is kind of generate this critical positioning, because, for example, we can already say that how they use it in the, I don't know, in the literature, in the writings of people from US, I think is very much different from what we understand in Europe as well. So it's kind of it's a huge concept. So it would be nice to really maybe create our own CivicWise definition of the commons, which is already, I think, a huge step forward, because it's a hard topic to deal with. We can do that, and then we can try working on what are the main values of the commons, or what practices might define the commoning process. So it's for me, it's much more like in the beginning, much more theoretical work actually, and then maybe we can test all these ideas like we do in many stuff, prototyping it and then see if it works, if it's correct or not.
Yes, I think it's a good starting point. I was thinking that maybe we could use this little dialogue we have right now to maybe structure the next sessions. For instance, we could say that for the, I don't know, first 3 sessions at least, we could have, I don't know, each time 10 minutes or 5 minutes to share a new definition of commons, for instance. So what I mean is that maybe today we could also try to suggest what kind of structure we could have on this kind of session, because it's really important that this session could be useful for us, not boring. So if we could have a defined structure, it's easier that we could have a final useful session. I would like also to say hello to Mario and Maite, that I know that they are following us now by YouTube. So especially hello to them, and I think they are also, especially Maite, I don't know if also Mario, maybe taking notes on our document. I don't know, or it's other people, which is amazing. Just to let you know that maybe you're just following the streaming. We have this shared document on Google, so right now we are taking note about what we are saying, and this is a collaborative way to document what we are sharing.
And ask questions with live, so everybody can comment and add some things.
Yeah. So so just to, I will also insist in my expectation. So my expectation is also to see if we are able to connect with people that right now we don't know. So this is also a challenge in I think in any community or network. Sometimes we create a comfortable group and a little community, and we start to share just between us, and we are not able to connect with other people that are also talented and with a lot of to share. So my expectation is that using the tools like Google Hangout, the Telegram, the Slack, the Drive, we are able to connect other people. So I really ask, and I hope that people that maybe right now are just watching the streaming, that next time they will join the Telegram, and especially they will join the video conference, because talking by video at least is also communicating something else, not just the contents, but also how we are, and that's important. It's really important to create this empathetic connection. So I don't know, Julia from Italy. We have Julia and Julia. So yeah, anytime is complicated to make the difference, maybe. I don't know if I am pronouncing it better. Julia, of course, yes, in Italian, but Julia?
Yes. No, yes, I was just thinking about how different can be territories. Can you hear me? Because my connection is quite bad. And no, I was just reflecting on this point, actually, about how can we just share the experience and like make the same experience for each territory.
Do you have any also suggestion about the session format? Maybe there is some problem with the microphone. I don't know. Luis?
No, no, I am thinking, really listening. Is too soon to, for suggestions or proposals.
Okay, any suggestion here,
But
Francesco?
I think it's nice proposal about having each session a part of the session dedicated in sharing maybe a reflection or a new definition about commons, personal, or maybe taken from a text or a book, instead of making it in a forum. It could be very also boring to have a discussion only written and just quoting the other conversation, but debating it's good. But also maybe we could give a focus on each session, no? Instead of having a part of sharing the definition, okay? But the rest of the session could be focused on a topic.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. What about having in each session one person or one group that is exposing, talking about his project or his research? So
could be that each session can be set up by someone.
Yeah, so
giving it a focus, no?
Yeah, we will. That's another. I think it's also interesting. So I think let's say that maybe each session has some people in charge of it, and this person or these people will decide if they are presenting their job, their research, or they are preparing some kind of specific topic for the debate. And
the debate.
I think it's interesting. It's also interesting because it's something in between about what we are doing with the civic talks and the La Participación session. La Participación session, which is this kind of methodology.
And I think also that this can be interesting because could mix contents from other labs. For example, I would be interested in setting up a session about rural commons, as I'm
Mm.
part of the rural lab.
Okay.
Yes, it could be.
For the factory, but
Yeah.
and they would go to something very specific. And
Yeah.
I think another way, rather than having these one-man shows, another way might be to have some questions. I mean, we can generate some questions and then structure each session around these questions. Say, I don't know, who is the stakeholder of a commons? Might be one topic. What is the role of the government in generating a commons? Might be another session. We can also go for that.
Okay. So the idea anyway is that before any session we could have previous text or information about the subject, so people would be able to think about it. And yeah.
Maybe it's also good to say that we, on the drive, we have this commons library, which we put in the existing materials we have. I have been uploading my downloaded files to there. So if you would like to contribute to the library, some PDFs, articles, and stuff. Maybe at a point we start them according to the sessions. And stuff. So now it's something. Just a place where all the trust.
Yeah, I think it's good. We also for if you don't know a lot about this subject like me, it's good to have a library.
I couldn't get it.
Yeah, the problem with microphone.
Julia?
I think she said that it's good for people who are more interested to have a first approach to the topic of commons, to have a library. So the library is very helpful for people who are the first approach.
Great.
I think she said this.
Perfect. So let's think about next session. We have these 5 minutes to share 5 or 10, I don't know.
15, more or less.
10 minutes about commons definition.
Okay. You mean how to structure the session? Yeah.
Yeah, let's start the session. So I think I was thinking that maybe also today we are not we are not paying attention to introduce ourselves. Maybe in each session we could have maybe 5 minutes to have a short introduction for each one. Then 10 minutes to talk about what is commons. And then there will be, or whether we have defined topic or someone who is presenting the research. I don't know, for instance, that maybe Julia, you want to start with your research next session. Yes.
Yes.
I think it will be interesting. So next session you are in charge to think about also the format if you want. So maybe if in each session we have different people in charge of the format, we also could discover which kind of format we are more enjoying. So
okay, then also maybe I'll invite my promoter in.
Yeah.
But I would say no more than 15-20 minutes for a project presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then 20 minutes of debate. And if it's just, a session where I moderate a debate, we make the same structure.
Yeah, I think say that we could have a general
introduction of maximum 15 minutes. If it's a project or a topic, it's maximum 15 minutes introduction, and then 20-25 minutes of debate.
Yeah, so for the debate, each session has the freedom to create new format. So what is important that the presentation is short, because otherwise could be really yeah, heavy to follow on Hangout. That's the problem as well. So, and also would be, sorry?
Yeah, go.
No, I was thinking that maybe we could start to think about how we could prepare the debate before the session using social media and yeah, using social media and especially our Telegram group. So, you know, if maybe you have some kind of questions or, you know, special tags, maybe we could share before the session and having some kind of feedback, and then use those feedback for the session. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that if there is a topic for a session, like let's say next session it's Julia presenting its research, no, and then we will have the debate on the topics of her research. So at least 1 week or 10 days before the hangout, Julia in this case will start giving a little concept about what is the research about, which are the main topics and stuff, and she can promote it as she wants in Slack or Telegram, and so she can have those feedbacks you are talking about.
Because I was thinking before when I was talking about civic talks, about this this idea that actually the questions could be your doubts actually. So it's not, you know, I think it is interesting. The presentation is not to say, okay, my research is really good and I want to share with you, which is also the goal, okay, sharing the research we are doing and our ideas. But especially when we are creating debate, is to share our doubts. So our, you know.
Open to collective intelligence.
Sorry?
To be further developed with the collective intelligence of the group.
Exactly. So I think this is the idea that we could experiment also.
Julia studied, eh?
Yeah, he's prepared.
She applies. Very good.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's nice. So, I mean, 5 minutes to introduce the person who are in the Hangouts, 10 minutes to contribute to a general definition of commons,
yes,
then 50 minutes of presentation, and then 25 minutes of debate. It's almost an hour, and always with the...
Yeah.
No, okay, it's on the... Perfect, it's on the document.
Yeah, it's great that we have the minutes. And so I think maybe so with we didn't say before, but also with this Common Lab we are also prototyping the governance of the CivicWise labs. So it's exciting and at the same time it's important. So the idea here is that Julia and me will be the coordinators of the lab. So be coordinators is being caring about the lab actually. So see, we will be working and caring about the right dynamics for the lab. So thinking about the organization, the next sessions, and also be really aware about the different projects and try to establish synergies and connection between different people and projects. And in work in progress, we will learn more about how to coordinate these kind of labs, because in CivicWise there are other labs. For instance, Rural Lab, Civic Tech Lab, Habitat Lab, Neighborhood Lab. So there are a lot of labs, but it's right now that we are starting to really prototype the governance and establish this idea of having coordinators. So being coordinators, we were working, Julia and me, about the schedule of this session and also proposing the next session. So, so far we talked that maybe it's enough to have one session per month. So, and we propose having the next session the 3rd of October.
3rd?
3rd, yeah, 3rd of October.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because...
it's good. No, it's good. I think what you said is good, because this morning Mario was on YouTube now following, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We had a session about playfulness lab.
Yeah.
And we were wondering how to run the lab, how to run the session, the meetings, and I think we can just use this format and follow this main direction. And it's very useful also for everybody.
So, so far, as we are also redesigning our web, actually, CivicWise web, to spread the word, we are using the newcomers platform. So after this session, we will publish the minute of the session on this platform, so to let other people know about what we already said. But maybe in the future, the idea is that to centralize everything on CivicWise, or create this civic media that we were talking a lot. So we don't know, but I'm just saying that also the methodology is that at the end of each session, we will have this minute with what we discussed. So for the next session, the minute about this definition of commons, and maybe the different answer to the question that Julia will be promoting, etc.
Okay.
So I don't know if you don't have I love when the session is really practical and really efficient.
Yeah, I'm always worried about my being over efficient, trying to be over efficient. So I should stop saying something.
It's okay. So let's say that the next session will be the 3rd of October, and you, Julia, will be presenting your research and proposing the question before the session. So the idea is also that maybe in 2 weeks, you could 2 weeks or 2 weeks or not, maybe 3, just a text to present the session.
Okay.
Having a test that we could present the session. I think it would be interesting if we could have a title of each session, just to get more people engaged and involved. You know, maybe it could be your thesis title. I don't know, but it's interesting that.
I have to rewrite my whole abstract and stuff, so I will have a title.
So maybe it's the good good excuse to work on it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so no more questions, no more ideas, no more. Perfect. So
after we close this, can we talk a bit about the next development for 5 minutes?
Okay, you suggest to stop the broadcast now, and okay. If you don't have.
I've left something. because I hope you haven't been only swimming.
Okay, so I will stop the streaming. Bye.
Okay, bye bye.
See you next month.
time.
Bye. See you.
Ciao, ciao.